It's a Christmas themed beer in the middle of February. Yep, this is Krampus, a double IPA from Rivington Brew Company. But what's it going to be like? Keep watching to find out. Welcome back to Rocker's Beer Review. Today we are reviewing Krampus, Rivington Brew Company. Yes, this is a Christmassy sort of themed beer, which is a bit of a strange beer to be reviewing. Now we're sitting here in what is it, middle February, but I saw this in Prost Bottle Shop, my favourite bottle shop in Bevington, in on the Wirral, and I thought, well, the last two double IPAs that have been some of the best beer I've drank were both from Rivington, so I've got to try this one. I mean, this is like the Blood Machines is a re-brew, as it were, but this is a double IPA hopped with Rawaka, Muteka, Idaho 7 and Idaho 7 Cryo. So I'm quite excited about this. Take my glasses off now so you can see the young looking me. Yeah, let's crack it open. Ignore the Christmassy theme and just think about the fact that it's got two really great New Zealand hops in it, and it's a double IPA, and it's from Rivington. And surely this can be nothing but an amazing beer. I'm amazed at how great these Rivington double IPAs are. I mean, just beer after beer from them. There's not much else I can say. They've just all been great. I can't even remember obviously the Evil Dead 2 is where he started for me with the double Rivington beers. Can't even remember what the hops were in that, but obviously the one, I think it had New Zealand hops in it, might have had Nelson in it. Then we had the Blood Machines, was fairly recently, and that was more of the sort of tropical stone fruits, didn't have New Zealand hops in it. But just great. And they have double IPA, the track one with Polly's and the birthday ones. I think that was really good as well. But anyway, let's not talk about this because I've opened the can, I poured it out, and the room is already filling with a credible aroma. But let's have a look at it first. Well, beautiful, just what you want. Custardy yellow, thick looking, very, very hazy. We've got literally half a finger of, well, I mean, it's not going to hang around. I don't remember what it is. It's a head, but it won't last. I don't think it will do much in the way of lacing and stuff like that. But the colour of this beer is pretty good. Pretty uniform all the way up. Thick, custardy yellow. Let's see what that aroma is all about. Oh, it smells really good. It's something about the aroma that's really, really inviting. It's like, I just want to drink it. Lots of that sort of New Zealand sort of twang, slight little bit of savoury, spring onion, lemongrassy sort of aroma. But there's lots of those sort of real crunchy sort of fruit aromas like pear and apple, which is not something you really would expect, but so those New Zealand hops can really sort of give some of those aromas out. There's lemons and limes and grapefruits in abundance. It's all about that sort of fruit aroma. I'm really, really thirsty now. Cheers, everyone. Well, it's a massive hit of fruit, first of all. And it's really, really, as you'd expect from a double IPA, it's smooth and got a very velvety sort of mouthfeel. The shock a little bit, though, was there's a big intenseness about the beginning of it. I'm not sure if that's alcohol in terms of it's slightly warming, or what I think it is actually more is just hoppiness, almost to the point where you get a little bit of hop burn. Now, obviously, this being a Christmas beer, I'll put my glasses on for this, and the fact that it was, where's the dates on this thing? Because the fact that it's obviously February now, so I would have thought this was brewed at least in December, if not before. It doesn't. I can't actually find a date on it. There's no date on the bottom. There's no date around the side. There's no date printed on it either. So I'm not quite sure what the date of it is, but I would have thought it's, whether that's less fresh, I don't know. It can't be that old. If anything, it tastes more fresh in terms of it's quite, that hop burn. I usually associate with something that's usually very sort of new and green. not sure if it's the hop burn or the hops themselves. I mean, what we're talking? Yeah, I mean, Ruaka. So Muteca is the second hop on the list, but Ruaka, very much like a New Zealand flavour. You get a bit of gooseberry, you're getting kiwi fruits and stuff, and melon, and a little bit less of the grape, but you're getting that savoury hit. What you get with Ruaka is a little bit of sort of peppery spice. It is almost like something like white pepper. It's not quite that harshness of a black pepper, which seems like crazy even talking about pepper in a beer, but that white pepper is a little bit of a little spiciness about it, and it's definitely got that in here. Muteca usually brings a lot of lime, and there's such a big hits of lime and zest that can really that can turn a little bit as well in terms of that flavourness. It can be really sort of quite cutting. I wouldn't use the word dank. I would think dank's more about over-ripened fruits, but there's a slight sweatiness about that flavour. Yeah, you're definitely getting a little bit of a burn in there. I think it's more hoppy burn. It's hoppiness, a lot of hops in there. The other obviously hop we've got in here is Idaho 7, the 2 types. Now, Idaho 7 is a bit of a weird one because that's got quite a distinctive sort of, almost like a black tea flavour. I mean, you know, you read any of the write-ups of Idaho 7, they'll tell you black tea and sort of tropicalness, but it's almost like that black tea flavour's coming through. I think it's a little less balanced than the last ones. I don't want to go into this thinking, oh, it's Rivington, it's going to be great. For me, it's a little bit harsh in its flavour. Really strong flavour, you know. It's strong where you get that big hit and you think, oh, I'm getting that nice juice, but it's a little sort of dank, a little sort of dry, a little sort of rind fruit flavours opposed to the pulp fruit flavour. So it's not overly refreshing. I think it's a very hoppy beer, and that flavour that you get is almost like too many sort of hops, and you're getting that little bit of burn, and you get a hop flavour, which is a bit of a weird thing to describe when you know every beer's got hops in it, but you get more of that sort of hoppy flavour in there. And the sort of fruit flavours is not coming out as cleanly, I think. It's the best way of describing it, really. You know, imagine those sort of New Zealand hops, and, you know, hopefully you've all had beers with New Zealand hops, and you know those sort of flavours that you're getting. But it's a little bit, they don't sing and dance on your tongue, those flavours. They just sort of like hang around a little bit too long. That's what they do. They're a little bit sort of slow moving, these flavours. But it's still good beer. But for me, it's not quite as great as those recent ones we've had. The flavours are a little bit more subdued. I mean, looking at it, look at it. It's like, you look at that and you think that's orange juice, isn't it? Apart from the sort of lacing of the glass there, it's very sort of, it's quite medium-bodied sort of thing for an IPA. It's, you know, it's a little heavy, a little bit. And for me, it's like what I always characterise a lot of double IPAs like. It's got that heavy, very sort of coarse body, although it's slightly velvety, but it doesn't quite sing a little bit. That's what it does. This beer doesn't quite sing. It just sort of groans a little bit. Flavours are all there, but they're intense flavours. And we're hanging around, you know, stop drinking it for a bit. I can still get the flavours all around here. It's coating the tongue, it's drying the tongue out. You get more sharpness now. As it sort of warmed up a little bit in the glass, you get that grapefruit flavour and that warmth coming through. And I think, you know, a lot of people really savour that flavour, you know, because it's not pleasant. It's just a bit strange, you know. You drink a lot of beer, you know, a lot of it's washing it away, you know, you're drinking it down, go. But this one, it's a sippable sort of beer. It tastes like a proper adult sort of beer that you just sort of sip and savour. And that's what it's all about. So, Krampus, Rivington Brew Company. We got Idaho 7, and Cryo and Normal, and we've got Muteca and Ruaka. I think the Ruaka is definitely leading the way with this beer. It's getting all that sort of peppery spice with all those sort of New Zealand crunchy sort of fruit flavours with kiwi and gooseberry and all that sort of stuff in it as well. It's in a big 500ml can as well. That's pretty good. Yeah, it's not bad. Let's get some scores. Okay, the scores are in for Krampus. This is a double IPA from Rivington Brewing Co. And as I said, Rowaka, Muteka, Idaho 7 and Idaho 7 Cryo. 8%, normal sort of double IPA ABV. But let's go through the scores, starting with aroma, appearance, flavour, value for money. This one's just over £6. And finally, my overall experience. Totting the scores up. I'm a little disappointed. It's first double IPA, seems like an ever that it hasn't been highly recommended. It's just recommended. Total score. Yep, it's in the 70s. It's a white snake beer. You got to slide it in slow and easy. That's what it's all about. And I think that is a real good sort of a good bit of advice I can give for this beer, because it is very hoppy. The hoppy flavours are sort of almost more dominant than the sort of fruity sort of flavours that come off those hops. It almost tastes as if it's like very, very green, very new, but I don't think it can be, because it's a Christmas beer. I'm sure Pross must have had it in sort of December, so you know it's at least 2 or 3 months old. Whether it's the hop burn, whether that flavour's developed a little bit more, that hoppiness has come out because it's been sitting in a can for that period of time, I'm not sure. I'm sure there's people out there that can tell me why that might be, but it's a very strong flavour where you get a little bit of hop burn, maybe even a little bit of alcohol burn that's coming through. Again, maybe if it's sitting there for three or 4 months, maybe it sort of gets to that point where the alcohol taste is a little bit higher. I don't know. The ferment, I don't think it re-ferments in the can once it's sealed. It shouldn't do anyway. But it's still a good beer, and it's still something that you should try. But let me know, Krampus, as I say, it's been around for a while. It was a rebrew. I think this was out probably last winter as well. And yeah, it's just another good beer from Rivington Brew Company. But let me know in the comments what you think, if you've had it before. Let me know what you think. Have you had any recent really good double IPAs? Because there's a lot of double IPAs out there at the moment, and I like to at least have one of them a week these days. And so I'm always on the lookout for anything new. So if you've had any new double IPAs, let me know in the comments. And until the next one, you know what you do. Drink good craft beer and keep on rocking.